Good morning. It's over there. Okay. So before I start, 20 minutes. I'm going to introduce myself very quickly. So Xavier Venero, I've been in the upstream finance industry for 20 years. I spent most of my career with BNP Paribas, and I joined BP last year to develop the structured financing activity. So I'm just going to go very quickly to introduce what BP Trading is doing. Then I'll give you a brief update on the market. And then I'll talk about which type of product we do offer and how we see the future. So I'll skip on this one. You know BP quite well, one of the key majors. You probably know the trading activity a bit less. So the trading activity of BP is fully integrated. It sits between the upstream and the downstream. I mean, it's a global activity. The trading division was developed for BP. It was developed to optimize and leverage BP activity on both upstream and downstream. And so you can see on the chart that it's a global and fully integrated business. Few numbers. So we are one of the leading oil trader in the world. We trade more than 4 billion every year. So it's a very large platform with more than 3,000 people working globally around 5 key hubs. So we are active in more than 140 countries with more than 12,000 clients. Let's talk about the clients. Clearly, we see a lot of activity coming from 5 key clients group. First one, obviously, is exploration and production companies, from the very small startup to the mid-size independent. Second category is national oil companies. BP, as you know, is very active in emerging market. And so we do have an extensive business relationship with NOCs. The third category of clients are the private equity firms and their portfolio companies. BP is doing more and more activities with this segment of client. And then we've got the former Soviet Union area, where BP historically has been very engaged. And today it's through our Rosneft shareholding. But we are also very active in Azerbaijan. So Russia and FSU is clearly a very interesting area for us. Indeed, US and EU sanctions have reduced activity, but we can still see a lot of upside. And just to finish with West Africa. West Africa is a key part of where we want to develop our business. And same, I mean, you saw BP very active in Angola, recently signing a strategic partnership with Cosmos Energy. So that's our producer space from the London office. We do have exactly the same strategy and the same client base in Asia and in North America. Few slides on the market. I mean, clearly our market has improved. I mean, you can see that prices have rebounded. I mean, the crack spread have been at a very high level, and you can see on this chart the recent spike due to the hurricane. But I think clearly on both crude oil and product, the environment is quite better. We also are experiencing a stabilization and a reduction of the crude stocks in both globally and in OECD. So you can see on this. How does it work here? Yeah, that's reduction of stocks, so which is basically a factual demonstration that the oil market is starting to stabilize. In terms of supply, clearly still very high, but it's the same. Starting to see a reduction in supply. The U.S. production has stabilized, still very high. But I mean, 2017 is clearly the beginning of a stabilization in the oil market. So to finish with, I mean, how the future looks like, as usual, as clear as mud, can go in different direction. But I mean, if you're bullish, you can clearly see a trend moving up. But we'll see. I mean, you can also expect a stabilization around 50, 60. In any way, I think we don't base our strategy on oil prices, but we do believe that the environment is going to get better. So what do we do? I mean, clearly, I mean, BP IST offer to oil and gas producer is what we call a one-stop shop offer. I mean, we do propose a full range of product that includes offtake agreement. I mean, the key aspect for us when we deploy capital is to have access to the physical gas, physical LNG, physical oil, and to bring those commodities, those molecules into BP global assets. The second category of product are clearly the risk management product. BP has developed a fairly comprehensive derivative activity, and the last part of it is of course funding. So our value proposition is very clear. It relies on a long-term partnership and industrial approach. We are not a bank, so when BP deploys capital, is to create a long-term partnership. We are completely flexible in terms of financial product. I'll discuss that very shortly, but whether it's senior debt, junior debt, mezzanine, or all type of capital, we're quite flexible. We have a global approach, so we are a global oil company, so we can go pretty much everywhere, except sanctioned countries, of course, but there are just very few of them. And indeed, the industry and the client are going to rely on our ethics, compliance, and transparency, because we have a global approach to this business, which is totally transparent. So that's what we are offering to the industry, whether we talk about independent producer, NOC, or other type of players. So in terms of financing product, obviously, we're here to take oil and gas risk, so we're quite happy to look at development financing, both, and then we are looking at fews in the North Sea, in West Africa, and so we have generally appetite for development risk. We see BP playing a very important role for acquisition financing, especially for small size players who are looking for a comprehensive offer. So a lot of people are coming to us just to bring some not only credibility but also some financial backing when they talk to sellers. So we recently closed a very interesting acquisition financing in West Africa. But it works very well for private equity-backed companies and mid-sized companies. Indeed, the first category of product are the pre-export financing and the prepayment. So those monetization products are designed for larger companies, national oil companies, established players in emerging markets. So these products are very well accepted by both the bank market, the bond market, and so we are planning to play a major role in those monetization going forward. And obviously, quite happy just to act as a physical off-taker. Many small companies don't have the expertise to deal with commodities. So whether we talk about shipping, logistics, storage, optimization of prices, optimization of benchmark, I think there are all type of physical marketing services that can be offered to producers. So that, in short, are offered to the upstream industry with, again, the same approach, very open, very flexible, and we'll try to tailor and design products that are suited to each opportunities. A few slides. Again, in terms of price management, risk management, BP has an industrial approach and physical approach to price hedging. We're not an investment bank. We're not here to take speculative position. We're here to use product to protect our client and to optimize price arbitrage for companies who working with us. So whether we do straight hedging or we embed price protection mechanism in off-take agreement, there is a wide range of products that we can offer to oil and gas companies. I think I wanted to talk about how the market has evolved, especially for you investor and for smaller companies. As we all know, before the crisis, and I'm talking about 2007 crisis, all markets were very liquid. The bank market, the bond market, the equity market, emerging market were fully open, so there was an excess of liquidity globally, and everybody was enjoying this excess of liquidity. So first, we experienced the financial crisis, and then a reduction in oil prices, and those crises been almost 10 years, had various consequences on the upstream oil and gas industry. First, all the commercial banks, the global banks, have been pushed. Depends how you see it, by regulator to better control their global oil and gas exposure, and some of them have reduced, some of them have exited. But it's clear that as the oil and gas global book have been under more control on the banking side. Equity and bond market have completely shut down, especially for smaller players. Things are changing, but over the past 2 years, the equity market were pretty much closed. So the access to capital market was extremely difficult, unless you were a large corporate or an investment grade player. And obviously, both capital expenditure and M&A activity have reduced. So the consequences is that capital has become scarce, and there are less and less players that are offering capital to the industry. So how we see the future and how we analyze today's market. I just said, prices have stabilized. We saw quite an active M&A market this year. Banks are back, but still with a flight to quality approach. So the small companies, development plays still face a tough bank market. Emerging market continue to struggle to raise capital in the bank market, especially in West Africa, in Russia. But at the same time, new players have emerged. So we see more and more credit funds, hedge funds, investors that want to get exposure to the oil and gas industry. And so this non-bank market is developing very quickly. The trading companies and the major like BP have also deployed new product in order to support the industry. And the last important thing that has happened is that we've seen very innovative financing solution, which combines contractor financing, bank financing, trading houses financing, and private equity. So, I mean, all these players manage to offer alternative to the straight bank debt or to the straight equity plus bond offer. So, I mean, where are the opportunities for investors? I mean, clearly, I mean, you saw what is the BP approach to the industry. So we have a clear strategy to offer capital as long as we can develop a long-term relationship that obviously includes physical marketing services. And then investor can either have a direct approach to producer, whether through equity or through direct lending. That's the obvious way of taking exposure. The second opportunity is that you will see more and more structured financing that are done around special purpose entities, structured by banks, commercial banks, investment banks, and where funds and family offices can either take exposure directly or exposure through investment bank. And the third option is definitively to work in partnership with players like BP, IST. We're quite open to discuss with investors how to get exposure to the industry. So in conclusion, I think we are clearly optimistic about the coming years. I mean, the market has stabilized and has improved. We see very interesting new players and with new appetite coming from all the region. And we think that we'll continue to deploy our global one-stop offer to producers. And so my conclusion is really to welcome new investor and credit funds to this market. And so we're looking forward to do transaction with you. And I think I'm done. 20 minutes.
Perfect. We've got some time for a question. If anyone's got a... Sorry. Yep. I'll come over.
Thanks. That was very interesting. I just wanted to... I'm Andy Morris, by the way. I just wanted to know what is your sweet spot in terms of providing off-take agreement and support, the one-stop shop for producers. How much before the asset is actually in production do you prefer, or won't you consider something which is before production?
I mean, the starting point is really to look at first and foremost BP's asset. I mean, where we operate and how we can leverage those assets. And so clearly we need to have some interest for the crude or for the liquids or for the gas. That would be the first starting point. I mean, do we see value? Can we add value through our own platform, through our own assets? So in a country where we have absolutely no presence, absolutely no competitive advantage, we may want to discuss, but we're not going to add a lot of value. And so I would say that whether it's a producing asset or a greenfield play, as long as we can offer something and add value, we are definitively going to look at the opportunity. And so if we see value, then if we like the flow of commodity, after that it's a standard discussion on risk assessment, debt capacity assessment, and project finance assessment. So again, very open. I think we are an oil company, so we know how to take development risk. We're quite comfortable with development risk. So it really depends on, the value we see in the molecules, and the long-term partnership we can develop.
Okay. Well, I've got obviously I've got something in mind here, but I'll perhaps talk to you one-to-one on that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.